This man is drunk. Wait, am I drunk? I'm nobody. Yes, you do have a problem. God's got this. No, I got this. You're stupid. You're dumb. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a son. I'm a leader. I am Marcus J. Scott. I'm Marcus J. Scott, author of The Drunken Preacher, here to encourage critical thinking, social awareness, advocate growth, resilience, provide hope, and help you find faith. Yeah, welcome to another edition of The Drunken Preacher Podcast. I'm Marcus J. Scott, man. I tell you, I'm super excited, but at the same time, I'm disappointed in myself. Yeah, I'm super excited, but at the same time, I'm disappointed in myself because I'll be honest with you. I fell off. Discipline broke down for me. Yeah, discipline broke down for me. Not enough to break rhythm or disrupt the rhythm, but it broke down enough that I missed a couple weeks on my podcast. Yeah, I missed a couple weeks on my podcast. Now I'm disciplined in a lot of other areas, but specifically for my podcast, it broke down on me. And to be honest, a lot of us get in that boat where here's what's crazy, right? It doesn't happen overnight. No, it doesn't happen overnight. We miss one day and then we like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then what used to be a priority becomes options. Yeah, what used to be a priority becomes options. And so one day becomes 2 days, 2 days become a week. And before you know it, you're not consistent. You're not disciplined. You're not doing the thing that was once a priority. And so we often get into that in one area or another. So like for me, I'm going to get up, I'm going to walk, I'm going to jog, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do that because, man, it's there. Not only that, I have people holding me accountable. I have you guys holding me accountable. And while there's a lot of people that say, hey, man, I haven't seen a new episode of the podcast, there are times when I'm like, man, I'm tired or, I'll get to it next week. But like I talked about earlier in one of my morning motivations, discipline is even when you don't feel like it. Yeah, discipline is even when you don't feel like it. So today we're not talking about success. We're not talking about, everything is great. Today we talk about what happens when discipline breaks down. Yeah, what happens when discipline breaks down. And here's the thing. This is how it actually breaks down, right? Like I said, you miss one day. You miss one time. Life gets busy, stuff starts happening, and then all of a sudden, that one thing that you miss is like, do I go back to it? And there's a lot of different reasons. Sometimes it's the fear of judgment. Sometimes it's the fear of failure. Sometimes it's other people's opinion. And I often say, we not ought to be moved by other people's opinion. We allow other people's opinion to affect our decisions, how we think, and or if we should do something or not do something. How often do you let other people's opinion affect how you do? What are they going to think of me? What are they going to say? Who cares what they say? And so we have to get to a point where when it hits us, when it's like, man, I ought to be doing it, that we stop in that moment and say, okay, what's the plan to get back on track? Yeah, what's the plan to get back on track? And so let's talk about some of the real problems. The real issue isn't that discipline broke. It's that we depend on motivation. Yeah, we depend on motivation, and motivation is emotional. Motivation is emotional. Whereas in discipline is built on systems. Discipline depends on systems that you build and you sticking to that system. Whereas in motivation is if it feels good, if I feel like it, if it's sunny outside. But a system says even when it's raining, here's what you do. Even when it's difficult times come up, here's what you do. And so we got to get away from the emotional motivation part and get to a system. What's my system? Well, it used to be before I would record a number of different episodes and I had somebody keeping me on schedule with recording. And there were certain days that I recorded and I had to have so many episodes in advance. Well, then my system got out of place. And then for a while, I was just kind of like, long as I get it done before Sunday, long as I get it done by Sunday. Then that turned into, well, I'm tired on Sunday because Sunday was my rest day. Well, long as I get up extra early and do it early on Monday because I drop these on Monday mornings. And so my system got out of whack, which caused my consistency to take a hit. It caused my discipline to lack. And so a lot of us, we're so emotional with the motivation, and that causes us to say, well, it's raining outside. I don't feel good. I don't feel like it. Something happened. And so the one thing that we said we were going to be consistent at, the one thing that we said we were going to keep moving at, the one thing we said we were going to do, whether it's lose weight, whether it's get a degree, whether it's start the business, whether it was going to be continuing to build on our relationships, build on our circles. For us entrepreneurs, continue to reach out to the customer even when we don't have reason to. What do I mean by that? If you're in real estate and they're not currently buying a house, are you reaching out to them? If you're doing hair or you're a barber and you're not cutting their hair, are you checking on them? Mm. If you're in childcare and the person happened to grow up and they're not in your system anymore, do you reach out to those people and say, hey, I'm always open for referrals? Do you reach out to past clients? Just because they grow at some point, do you stop reaching out to them? And so the issue becomes we don't have systems in place to hold us accountable to be disciplined. We don't have systems in place to say, what do we do when we don't feel like it? The system helps us to be consistent. The system helps us to be disciplined. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And if you miss step 2, you don't get to step 3. If you miss step 2 or 3, you don't get to step 5. You don't get the success. You don't get the completion. You don't get to the next level. You say you want more clients. You say you want more this. You say you want more money. And God sometimes open up opportunity through ways of being disciplined and structured with the current situation that you're in. How can I say I want to build something and I'm falling off on my systems and I don't have consistency in my podcast? Again, not enough to break the rhythm, not enough to completely stop because I'm back here today. And so we have to get to a point where what is it that you were pushing before? Is it weight loss? I wanted to be healthy. I want to lose weight. I want to get back to where I used to be. Some of us, I want to get back to my high school weight. I have some friends that are literally at their high school weight. I mean, technically, I'm at my high school weight now, but I want to be less than that. And it can be done if we're disciplined in doing it. And so I want to look at Proverbs 24:16. Proverbs 24:16 says, a righteous man falls 7 times and rises again. A righteous man falls 7 times. Falling is expected. Yeah, falling is expected. God knows we're going to make mistakes. And so there are times when we make mistakes. The thing is, we have to rise again. The rising is what's required. If you get knocked down, get back up. That is the key. And here's the thing, just because we fall twice or 3 times, I just got through saying that Proverbs 24:16 talks about falling 7 times, 7 times 7. And what is it saying? That means multiple times, over and 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 over again. The thing is, are we learning from what we fell from? Are we learning from the mistake? Now, here's where we sometimes mess up. Sometimes we mess up because we're making the same mistake over and over and over again. And we got to get to a point where we fall and say, okay, I learned that lesson. I often talk about failure isn't failure. We have to look at them as lessons. The losses aren't losses, they're lessons. And so we have to take what happened, the loss, the failure, as a lesson and learn from it. That is the key. Learning from our losses. And so then we reset and then move forward. And so how do we begin to rebuild the discipline once we have fallen? So there's a couple things that we have to do in order to reset and move forward in fixing our discipline and the breakdown. So one, we got to recognize. We have to recognize, stop pretending and call it what it is. I fell off. Yeah, we got to acknowledge it. When I was going to counseling and when I would go to some of our meetings, they would say that the first step to recovery is the acknowledgement that you need help. That's the first step. I need help. And some of us are acting like we don't need the help. That's the first thing we got to say is, I need the help. I'm not sure. I don't know how to move forward, but I fail. I got a problem. I got issues. I need help. So that's the first thing. We got to recognize that we need the help. Then the second thing, we have to release. Drop the guilt. Guilt keeps us stuck longer. When I was going in my circle and I would drink and fall off, a lot of times the reason I would keep drinking because I would be so depressed that I fell off. I'd be like, well, I might as well go ahead and keep doing it. And that's the wrong mindset to have. Listen, I fell off. It happened. There's nothing I can do about it now. Let's regroup. Release it. Let it go. It happened. The marriage didn't work. The relationship didn't work. The business didn't work. Yes, you had the money and lost it. Yes, you gained the weight back. Yes, you weren't eating what you were supposed to. Yeah, you missed the workout. Yeah, you made the bad decision. Yes, you had to file for bankruptcy. Yeah, you lost the house. Yes, it went into foreclosure. Yes, you bought the car that you shouldn't have bought. Let's release the decision that we made yesterday. Let's release the mistake we made that happened yesterday. Let's release what happened an hour ago and start from right now. If you're listening to me right now, release whatever it was 30 minutes ago, whatever it was an hour ago, whatever it was 2 days ago. It happened. It's over. God, give me the strength to move forward, starting right now. Let go yesterday. Let go an hour ago. Let go 30 minutes ago. Let it go. And let's move forward. And then we got to recommit. And here's the thing we don't want to do. We don't want to recommit and say, okay, I'm starting over. Okay, I'm starting from today. Recommit today. We can't rebuild everything in a moment. As I often say, my mentor says, small steps, great distances. So let's commit to something small. Okay, I had this time where, okay, I had to do it for this long, for this amount of time. I'll take prayer, for instance. I used to be like, man, I don't know if I could pray for an hour. Okay, cool. Let's start with 5 minutes. I don't know if I could do 10 miles. Okay, cool. When I first started losing my weight, I did like a block, like one block. That's nowhere near the 10, 12 miles that I could do now. I've gone as high as 18 miles straight. When I started off with a block, one time around the block. And so we got to commit to what we can do. We got to recommit. So once we recognize, once we release, we got to recommit. Then once we recommit, then we can start to rebuild. That's when we got to put the systems back in place so that our future doesn't depend on our feelings. When we talk about rebuilding, that is when we put systems into place that doesn't depend on our feelings, how we feel about it. Because that's what got us in trouble in the first place, right? I don't feel like it. Let's build systems. Let's start with checklists. Let's start with writing things down that needs to happen and when they need to happen. You want to lose weight? Let's get on an eating plan. Okay, you don't even have to start with the exercise. Let's write out an eating plan. And that's easy to find between Google and Pinterest and TikTok and all these other outlets that we have that we can. What's the eating plan? What's the exercise schedule? Are we going to do it in the morning? Are we going to do it in the afternoon? Are we going to do it after work? Are we going to do it in the evening time? Let's build a schedule. Let's start with a plan. You want to build a business? When are you going to call your customers back? When is the administrative time? When is the paperwork time? When is checking emails time? When is it time to network? What days are we going to network? What times are we going to network? You want to go get the license or the degree? When are we going to study? What days are we going to study? What times are we going to study? You want to build your relationship? What days, what times is the quality time? Not while you're working, not in passing, not, oh, by the way. Do you have set aside time to spend quality time? We get so caught up in, I don't have the time, but are we building the system to create the time? Most of us have time because we spend more time watching TV and scrolling on the internet or doing other stuff that's usually not productive. Me personally, I watch very little TV. In fact, I keep saying I'm going to cut off some of the streaming service or other things that I have because I'm not watching TV. There's times when I don't know what's going on. People are like, hey, did you see? Nah, I didn't. As much as I love Michael Jackson and want to go see the movie, I still hadn't gone to even see the movie. And I wanted to and tried to plan to and didn't because my focus was on being productive somewhere else. And so we got to build a system. That's how we're going to get back on this discipline thing because we can't go off emotion. it has to be on systems that will keep us disciplined. It has to be built on systems that will keep us disciplined. I often share this story, and I'm going to let you go. McDonald's isn't the business and the franchise and the conglomerate that it is because they got the best burgers. McDonald's is not the biggest and the best burger joint in the world because they got the best burgers. They are the biggest and best conglomerate because they got systems. They have systems. You know, if you go to Miami and order a Big Mac, it's going to taste the same whether you go to Chicago or New York or LA or California or Atlanta or Texas or Wyoming or Europe. The same Big Mac is made the same way, and it's because they got a system. We go there, I don't go there, but people go there because they have systems. And if we're going to grow, if we're going to be better, if we're going to be more disciplined, we have to build systems for our lives in order to be better. All right? That's my time for today. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this one. Getting back on, starting back up again. When discipline breaks down, we got to be focused. We got to recognize, we got to release, we got to recommit, and then we got to rebuild. All right. That's my time. I enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it too. Make sure you share, subscribe, and like Marcus J. Scott 4040. Marcus J. Scott 4040. And until next time, always have a heart of gratitude and the strength to keep moving forward. God bless.
It's your time. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. The drunken preacher. Yeah. The drunken preacher. Yeah. It's your time. It's your time. The drunken preacher. The drunken preacher. The drunken preacher. The drunken preacher. The drunken preacher.